Today's meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order on February 23rd, 2022. Welcome, everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall to the entrance of the chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. The Municipal Code Enforcement Board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. It's the board's intention to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Clearwater by providing this equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing certain codes within the city. The board considers new business items in 2 parts. First, the violation, and then affirmative relief. Formal rules of evidence do not apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes. The board may grant additional time. All proceedings will be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from the chambers. Now I ask all who plan to speak to please rise and be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
Yes.
Thank you.
We got you. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
And a second?
A second.
And minutes are approved. Okay, is there anyone here today to speak to items not on the agenda? Hello.
Hello, Madam Chair and board members. Attorney Matthew Minich on behalf of the City of Clearwater. I wanted to introduce you to our new code enforcement attorney, Melissa Isbell, who just joined the city back in January. She's going to be taking over my responsibilities with Code Enforcement Board, and she's very excited to be working with you.
Well,
Good afternoon.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you. Anybody else for items not on the agenda? No one? Okay. So next on the agenda are the new business items. The first case is 8-22 fines respondents Matthew Lau LLC at 300 South Arcturus Avenue in violation of code for residential rental business tax receipt. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? Daniel? No. Okay, staff, are you requesting a declaration?
No, unfortunately not. This is just for a business tax receipt required for a rental. Do you want me to present the entire case, or would you just like to go to the recommendations page?
I think for this, we can just head to the recommendations page.
We do need a first.
First motion.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
A second.
Motion passes.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good afternoon, Board. Daniel Kasman, Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is for case number 8-22 for 300 South Arcturus Avenue. There's one violation here for a residential business tax receipt. I'm requesting compliance on it before March 23rd of 2022, or a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day the violations continue to exist. We're asking the Board to authorize the following. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the City Attorney's Office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. And the compliance can be met for the residential business tax receipt by obtain a rental business tax receipt or cease renting the property.
Does anyone have any questions?
No. I move to enter the motion in order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before March 23rd, 2022. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Daniel. Next case, 9-22, fines respondents We Care Fashions, Inc. at 807 Court Street in violation of code for facade lighting. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? We Care Fashions.
Board, this one is going to be a declaration of violation. The offenders did come into compliance before the Code Board hearing.
Okay.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case. The violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're rolling through. Case 10-22 finds respondents Bowley Centers, Inc. at 1451 Gulf to Bay Boulevard in violation of code for site lighting. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? Bowley Centers.
The respondents are here, but I've already spoken with them. This is also going to be a declaration of violation. They are currently in compliance.
Okay. Fantastic.
Move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Case 11-22 finds respondents Colin Shallon, and Rosemary Trucy at 801 Turner Street in violation of code for exterior storage and outdoor display storage. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? The Shallons? No.
Board, this one is also going to be a declaration of violation. They came into compliance before the code board date.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavits. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great job.
Thank you for your time.
Smooth.
Case 12-22 finds respondents Christopher Brinley at 2132 Academy Drive in violation of code for residential rental, business tax receipt, and short-term rental.
Good afternoon, Board. Julie Phillips, City of Clearwater. This property was in violation. It's currently in compliance. I'll be requesting a declaration of violation.
Okay. And you're not here to speak on this case?
I'm sorry, I am not here to speak, but I am here on behalf of Mr. Brinley, the homeowner, but he's in compliance, so I'm not going to say anything except I'm here.
Could you just state your name for the record?
Yeah, sorry, for the record, Sean Yesner, Y-E-S-N-E-R.
Thank you.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Case 13-22 find respondents David Stortz at 706 North Jefferson Avenue in violation of code for residential rental, business tax receipt, and short-term rental. Is there anyone here to speak to this case?
Madam Chair, this case is also in compliance, and I'll be requesting a declaration of violation.
Fantastic.
Move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In case 16-22 finds respondents Robert and Chrysenza Whitney at 1692 North Fort Harrison Avenue in violation of code for parking lot surfaces, roof maintenance, and door and window openings. Is there anyone here to speak on this case?
Yes.
Please come up to the podium and tell us your name and address.
My name is Robert Whitney. My address is 6628 Del Prado Terrace, Newport Richey, 34652.
And Robert, thank you for being here. Do you admit to the violation?
Yeah, I actually, I thought I satisfied most of it. I'm actually in the process of painting the building. I pressure washed it, so it looks even worse now. There's more paint off. I have to replace more wood than I had planned on, so it's taking a while.
Okay.
I filled the potholes in the lot. And she told me just now that they mean, there's like a spot where there's a concrete base within the parking lot, within the blacktop, where there used to be something before we purchased the property, like a block wall. So I didn't realize that's what she meant to even that out, because it's heaved.
Well,
So I actually filled holes in the lot. So.
Okay. Well, we'll let you hear, have a seat, and then we'll hear from Ms. Phillips, and then we'll call you back up, okay?
Gotcha.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Wait. Is it a complete
No,
admission?
Was that an admission?
Well, yeah, I haven't finished the paint especially. I actually replaced the soffits on another building because I thought that's what you meant. I didn't know you meant the warehouse building. I didn't realize anything was wrong with the roof in the back, so the other building on the other end of the property, I actually replaced the soffits there because I thought that's what you were talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That should go okay.
I'm going to repeat it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
These are two separate cases. right?
These are two separate cases. It is the same owner, but they are two separate parcels, so they'll be heard separately. Would you like me to go the recommendation or
Please,
present?
oh, no, please proceed. We'd like to see it.
Okay, I've got. Forgive me, this is not cooperating.
I apologize. I didn't realize that the one below it was the same.
That's okay. So board, my name is Julie Phillips, Inspection Specialist. I'll be presenting a PowerPoint for 1692 North Ward Harrison, case 1622. There were 3 violations at this property, which violate Code Section 3-1502K4 for parking lot surfaces, Section 3-1502B and D1 for exterior maintenance and roof maintenance, and Code Section 3-1502C1 for door and window openings. A notice of violation was sent on December 7th of 2021 with a compliance date of January 7th, 2022, and I did receive the certified mail receipt signed on December 20th of 2021. So this is the property located at the corner of Fairmont and North Fort Harrison. If you take your eyes to the 2 arrows at the top, it's sort of like a warehouse building, but it almost looks like the doors were broken into, they were boarded up. As you can see in the parking lot, we had some potholes, heaved and cracked surfaces, and those photos were taken on December 6th of 21. There's a better visual of the pothole. This kind of U-shaped area, it does slope. I mean, it is cracked, heaved. To me, it's a tripping hazard and it should be repaired. Another pothole. And this is a closer shot of the building where you can see there's some rotted wood on the exterior surfaces portion. And that's a closer shot of the door that was broken. This is actually the west side of the building, and it has some missing soffit and some rotted wood in the fascia area. So I went back to the property on February 17th, and the gentleman is correct. There were some potholes that were filled. It does look better. Unfortunately, this U-shape is still cracked, to me, it needs to have sufficient repair. One of the doors you can still see is boarded up. That's a better visual. And it looks like the end door was replaced, but it's not a proper door. Still, the exterior surface has some rotted wood. And at the bottom it has rotted wood. There's nothing done to the fascia or soffit. And that's a better view of the actual soffit area. And I'll let the board deliberate.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Phillips?
Yes, I do. The square area that you talked about, the oval that's kind of separate from what appears to be a rectangular area, and I believe the gentleman mentioned that it appears that there might have been some sort of wall underneath there, but it's kind of strange that it's a square. Are you asking for him to remove some of that concrete material and replace it with asphalt, or?
I'm asking him to repair it so there's not any cracked, heaved, or potholes in the driveway area, yes.
Can I speak?
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay, so we can call Mr. Whitney back up and.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I can fill that in with blacktop. I patched the other holes because I didn't realize that was an issue. That's been like that since we bought the property. And when they repaired it, because we actually had the whole parking lot resurfaced, we had people come in professionally and fill it and glaze it again, and that was like a year and a half ago, and it already looks like crap again.
Really?
So, I mean, I don't know what they're using, because I'm guessing they're using the same stuff I've tried, because if you buy the stuff from Home Depot and do it, people drive on it and it's ruined in like a month, so. I mean, I honestly didn't realize, and the back of that building, I didn't know that was like that. I didn't see pictures of, you know, I didn't realize that's what it was. I actually replaced the soffit on another building because I thought that was the problem.
What is this building?
What's that?
What is this building?
It's just it's zoned like light industrial commercial. It's like a warehouse. That's
You
all
just
it
use
is.
it as warehouse space?
Yeah, pretty much. And that door that was there, it's like not even a door. I'm probably just going to close that and cover it. It's like, it's not an entryway. It's just a little square room with shelves. It's just unnecessary. That's what that door is on the outside.
So now that you understand that these violations are for this building, the 1692 building,
Yes.
you can focus in on those before
Yeah, I can actually repair that soffit easily.
Repair that door, though, if you decide to close it up, make sure that you don't need a permit for it or something like that. Don't make this worse than it is.
I don't think, I would just cover it with plywood and tar paper and stucco. I wouldn't need a permit for that.
I would
It's
work,
exterior, you would need a permit.
I would work with the inspector. I would work with
Really?
Ms. Phillips before you took on
Gotcha.
that and decide what is the best course of action for those.
Okay. So any improvements made on a building, if it's the exterior, it needs a permit?
That's my understanding, but I would speak with the professionals.
Gotcha. Like if like the siding spots, because the whole building's blocked, those are actually decorative wood that's on the building. If I were to replace that, I need a permit for that too?
I can't answer that for you, I'm pretty sure that if it's a door.
Just definitely reach out to the building department.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't realize that I would need a permit for that.
Do you think you can get all these things finished by March 23rd, though?
Could I get a little more time than that? Because like I said, the building, I guess we're not on that one yet. The next one is the one I have to paint. I actually have to do a lot of work. I have to replace a lot of wood, so, like, to satisfy all of the violations together, I guess both
There are quite a few with 60 days.
1622 and 1722, I guess, are those the cases? To do both of those, I would need maybe a little more time. I'm actually doing it myself and I work, so.
How much time do you think you need?
Maybe another month. And, I mean, by then, I can send y'all pictures or whatever, I don't know.
But I would strongly advise you to work with Ms. Phillips before you tackle these exterior projects with just plywood and a tarp. Make sure that they're gonna
No,
be in
not tarp.
compliance
Tarp.
before you go.
I'm gonna stucco it. I'm gonna put concrete up on the wall, so, yeah.
Talk to her.
Gotcha.
Just to make sure you don't waste time or money is all.
Oh, I understand. I wouldn't even thought that you would need a permit to do that. It's literally closing up a doorway, so, I mean, so I definitely will talk to her, because I wouldn't expect it to be a
Do other
permanent
questions?
process.
I was gonna recommend to give him 60 days instead of 30, so he's not rough,
Thank you.
works,
Thank you.
is what I recommend.
Any other questions for Mr. Whitney?
No.
Okay. Is that it?
I'm good?
Thank you.
Thank
You can have a seat and then Ms. Phillips is gonna come up.
I can make a motion if we're ready.
We only read your recommendations, but
Happy
you're welcome to give them.
Happy to give them. So my recommendation, board, for case 1622, there are 3 violations: roof maintenance, exterior surfaces, the door and window openings, and parking lot surfaces. I'm requesting compliance 60 days from today's hearing, or a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day the violations continue to exist, potentially $450 per day. We are asking the board to authorize the following. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and liens remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. Compliance can be met for parking lot surfaces by repairing any cracked, heaved surfaces and keeping them free of potholes. Compliance can be met for exterior surfaces and the roof maintenance by maintaining the building walls in a secure and attractive manner. All decorative elements shall be repaired or replaced to match the original and construction of the building. All surfaces should be free of rotted wood, mildew, rust, and peeling paint. Compliance can be met for the doors and windows by the doors shall be secured in a tight-fitting, weatherproof manner and have sashes of proper size and design. Rotten wood, broken joints must be repaired and replaced.
I move to enter order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 24th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll go to the next one, which is case 1722. Find respondent Robert and Chrysenza Whitney at 1680 North Fort Harrison in violation of code for exterior surfaces. Mr. Whitney, we're gonna do this, the other address.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's the painting one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I started, I just haven't gotten to it. I pressure washed more paint off, I just haven't gotten that.
Okay, so you admit
to
to the
replace it.
violation?
What's that?
You admit the violation?
Yeah, it does need to be painted.
Okay, we'll have a seat and then we'll hear from her and then we'll figure out what to do. Thank you. And
Would you like me to go to the recommendation page?
I move
I
to
just need
find,
to get a.
Wait, do we need a first
Yeah,
motion?
we just need a first.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would just like to see the photos and your.
So again, this is at the corner of Fairmont and Fort Harrison. As you can see, next to the address of 1682, we have some rotted wood. This would be on the north side of the building. You can see the peeling paint. There's some rust stains underneath the air conditioner, and several of the decorative tiles are falling off the building. There was some rotted wood in the soffit area, and again, these were taken on December 6th. If you go to the south side of the building, you can see some declining paint, tiles still falling off. There's a better shot of some of the peeling paint, rotted wood. When I went back to the location on February 17th, there were some decorative tiles that had fallen off the roof. The rotted wood was still at the entrance of the hair salon. The owner said he did pressure spray some. That's why the paint looks a lot larger. There's still rust from the air conditioner and decorative tiles that had fallen off from the building. And this is a shot of the south side of the building. Again, rotted wood, peeling paint, decorative tiles that have come off. There's a closer shot.
Your recommendation?
So my recommendation for case 1722, there's one violation for exterior surfaces. Are we giving the same 60 days, I assume?
Well, I just had a question because that said 1682 and then this one, the case.
That's how it's addressed.
It's an adjoining building. There's two addresses within one.
Oh, and was one single building? Okay.
It's like a split building, half is
Sir,
one half.
there's just a lot of conversation not happening on the record, so I.
That's how property appraiser has it.
He owns both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you be giving the same amount of time, 60 days?
I think we're in the mind of to lump it together, yeah.
Okay. So I'm requesting compliance within 60 days of today's hearing, or a fine of $150 per day for each day the violation continues to exist. We are asking the board to authorize the following. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. Compliance can be met for exterior surfaces by maintaining building walls in a secure and attractive manner. All decorative elements shall be repaired or replaced to match the original and construction of the building. All surfaces shall be free of rotted wood, mildew, rust, and peeling paint.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Mr. Whitney, do you want to come back up?
Yeah. It looks worse now because a lot of the stuff came off with the pressure, you know, that those wood things just blow off if they're rotted. That's why there's more missing now, so.
It seems like this building may have about the same amount of work as the other one, if not more, so.
Yeah, the painting is more, but otherwise it's not much else. I mean, it's some repair, but the painting is the biggest, you know.
Okay. It looks like the board
Undertaking.
is leaning toward giving you the extension for the 60 days, but you have quite a bit of work to do on both of these buildings in 60 days.
I'm confident that I can. Is it possible that I mean, honestly, that corner that you saw when I ripped that off, I mean, I don't know if you all know construction much, but I don't know what's going to be in there and how much work that's going to take. So if I run into something and I need more time, is it possible to contact someone about it?
Need you contact
Gotcha.
the inspector and work with them at the city.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, otherwise I'm going to try to get it done. This is what I do for a living, so it's not like,
You don't want to be back here. So.
no, I don't. I don't even live down here, so.
Well, we appreciate it.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate the extra time.
You have one more
Yeah,
question?
Robert, have you pressure washed all of the building?
The whole, the two buildings together, yes, I pressure washed the whole thing. And then I went back and I scraped a lot of stuff too. The other building I haven't pressure washed. That one was painted somewhat recently, but there is a lot of rot on the bottom. Like she pointed out with the wood slats. I was planning on just putting T111 up, like beadboard with the lines. Instead of it going sideways, they would go up and down. But like I said, that's actually a block building. That's pretty much like a cosmetic facade, just to, to have something different other than block on the whole building.
You want to make sure that you check with the building department to see if you need a permit
Oh
to
yeah,
do all
for
of
sure.
this work.
I will now. I honestly didn't realize that minor stuff like that would require a permit down here.
And it looked like from the pictures that you had pressure washed one of the sections and it came off so badly that you stopped and didn't do the next sections.
No, I kept pressure washing. I just came back because if you get too close to it, it's like literally the whole wall will just peel off. And I'd rather just get off what I can and then prime and seal in with the stuff that's left, because it's almost impossible to take all of the paint off the building and get it all down. So.
Right. And then at the base of the building, there appears to be a bunch of weeds and vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to remove that in order for the sun to get to it so it stays dry and not a lot of moisture.
Actually, there's also there's quite a bit of shrubbery. I'm sure you saw in the picture. I plan on cutting a lot of that out, or I won't be able to, replace even the wood behind. So,
right.
So I'll do the landscaping at the same time because I need to get all that out to be able to get to the building itself. So
okay.
Definitely, I understand that.
Well, we really appreciate you being here and,
Gotcha.
tackling this.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very
Okay.
good.
Can I get a motion on the violation?
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 24th, 2022. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien. I'll give you some time.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Awesome.
And thank you, Ms. Phillips.
You'll send out a notice for this also? Like this new date or whatever?
You'll get an order, yes, on
Thank
both
you, guys.
cases.
Have a great day.
Bye, thank you. Case 1822 finds respondents Kunal Jain at 3277 Beaver Drive in repeat violation of code for short-term rental. Is there anyone here to speak to this case? Please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Kunal Jain, 3277 Beaver Drive, Clearwater, Florida.
And do you admit the violation, Mr. Jain?
Well, not by me. We were in the middle of changing the companies. Management company got changed, and somehow they were not aware that there is a law for 30 days. And when they were changing the website at the same time, because my neighbor was constantly monitoring, so he complained to Ms. Julie, and Ms. Julie took the screenshot. But but we never rented it because our place is already rented for 6 months already. So if you see the advertising happened, yes, it does, but it was in hindsight because I'm not aware of it. We changed the management company, and then as soon as Ms. Julie told me that this happened, because she put a notice, and we have cameras on the property, so we saw the notice immediately. I sent an email to both company as well as Ms. Julie that I fixed it. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen because the building is already, the
my rental is already booked for next 6 months.
Sorry, I don't mean to
From
interrupt
monthly
you,
to
but we
monthly.
just need to know, is this an admit or deny, and then you'll get the opportunity to speak.
So,
So do you admit to the allegations or no?
I think you should, this is a repeat violation, so I think you should hear the case.
Yeah, definitely, I just want to,
I
Get to
think,
the point
right,
where
I
they
think
get to
you should
speak.
take it as a denial and have the city present.
So, Mr. Jane, you can have a seat, and then we're going to hear from Ms. Phillips, and then we'll call you back.
Good afternoon again, Board. Julie Phillips. I do want to let you know that I do have the complainant, Brent Hall, here, who would like to speak at some point during this case. So I will start. This PowerPoint presentation will be for 3277 Beaver Drive, case 1822. There is one violation at this property for a repeat violation for a short-term rental. It violates Code Section 1-104B for a development code violation and Section 3-919 for prima facie evidence. This property was posted with an affidavit of posting and a notice of a repeat violation on February 1st, 2022, and a copy was also hand-delivered to the property owner at his residence in Safety Harbor. Just so you know the definition of a residential use, it means a permanent place of residence for a family. A residential use located on residentially zoned property shall not include rentals for periods of less than 31 days or 1 calendar month, whichever is less, or which is advertised or held out to the public as a place rented for periods of less than 31 days or 1 calendar month, whichever is less. A residential use located on residentially zoned property shall not include interval ownership, a fractional ownership, or a time-sharing unit. I also would like to read the definition of a repeat violation. If some of you at the board do not know, a repeat violation means a violation of a provision of a code by a person who has been previously found in violation through a code enforcement board or any other quasi-judicial or judicial process to have violated or who has admitted violating the same provision within 5 years prior to the violation, notwithstanding the violations occur at different locations. On July 28th of 2021, case 8821 was brought before the Municipal Code Enforcement Board and was found in violation for violating Code Section 1-104B for a development code violation and 3-919 for advertising an illegal short-term rental. The board ordered that no fine be imposed since the violation was corrected prior to the hearing. At the time, if the respondent repeats the violation within 5 years, the board may order the respondent to pay a fine up to $500 for each day the repeat violation continues to exist. I believe it was January 28th when I received a call from one of the neighbors, whose name is Brent Hall, and stated that the owner was renting his property less than the 31-day requirement again. So I did go onto the internet and found one of his ads on Airbnb. The first arrow says, "Pack your bags and go to Florida, play, relax, and work with freedom," and that's hosted by Ekaterina. I did try to book the property, and it gave me a 7-night minimum stay. The code states 31 days or 1 calendar month requirement. The last time that Knoll's case had come to the board, he did fix that, and you have to actually adjust it to make it do this. So it was changed again. On January 31st, I went back to Airbnb, pack your bags and go to Florida. It had the same host. And this time it was for a minimum stay of 6 nights. I went ahead and tried to book it, and it went ahead and took me to the payment section, confirm and pay, for 7 nights for $2,810. I went ahead and posted the property with the affidavit of posting and the notice of repeat violation on February 1st of 2022. Went back to the website, again, pack your bags and go to Florida. Another 7 nights from July 24th to the 31st for $2,538. There's a better shot. And after I spoke with Knoll, he did change the website, and now it says Resort Style Living in Florida, monthly only. And it did give the 29 nights because the code does say 31 days or 1 calendar month, and there's 28 days in February. And I'll let the board deliberate.
Can you clarify before they deliberate what you're asking for under the repeat violation? Because I think it's important for them to know.
Under
what
the
it
repeat
is.
violation, because this case has been here before, I'm requesting $500 per day for every day that I was able to photograph the violation.
And so how many days is that for? So it's 3 days, and that's important for the board to consider at $500 a day.
Okay, I think, do we want to, any questions from Ms. Phillips while she's up here? And do we want to hear from, who did you say, the neighbor?
The neighbor, Ms. Brent?
Hi, can you state your name and address?
Brent Hall. I'm at 2575 Alderberry Drive. And I actually have some things to show if I could use the overhead. May help.
Certainly. You have a few minutes.
Are you aware of what it's going to show?
Sorry, I'm just gonna turn off.
We got it.
Okay. So I live directly behind this property. We've lived there for almost 20 years. My wife Danny, 3 kids, without issues in this quiet, lovely neighborhood. I want to provide you a timeline of what the nuisance that we've had since Mr. Kane has bought this property. So he bought it in February of 2021, and after that time, about a month later, we started to see a steady stream of weekly rentals come through here vacation. This is from the previous. They're often, they're all here on vacation, often playing loud music, screaming, yelling, playing in the pool, the normal thing you would expect. We did this month after month. We finally contacted code enforcement. One time it was so bad we called the police department. They came out, they actually recommended that we go through the vacation rental site to contact Mr. James. So we did that. Actually, I'll go through this. So we did contact him. He came out right away, said he was going to take care of it, that type of thing. So after that, he told us that was, he was going to take care of it. So on June 15th, the new short-term renter, again, a different one, came out. And our neighbor contacted us because they knew that we had contact with Mr. Jane. So they knew, so we contacted him and asked him. He said that it was his last time renter. So
you've just had a series of noise issues
yeah,
and
it's
party issues.
serious noise every time. You'll see, so again, we called, again, you'll see similar statement that he just stated. It's his last short-term guest. So it was another, after our complaint, after the notice, another short-term guest. He says, this is our last short-term guest. We said, okay, it's the last one, we'll go. So as you can see, it's amazing. He had another 6-month renter. So that was what stated. So we were like, okay, it's over, we're done, we can move forward. So then a week later, new residents came in. So contacted him, asked him again, said, mainly trying to be nice, you said this was a 6-month renter. We're hearing new people. What's going on? So he decided to then threaten us with legal action because of his illegal activity. Again, reaching out, telling him that, I didn't understand. Been here for 20 years, trying to work with people. And he's threatening us. So he's threatening because he received a letter from the city in violation. So since I'm the only neighbor that I guess reached out to him, because I know there's been other neighbors, so I'm the reason that this is his problem. So, again, and I'm showing all these just so you can see it's a string. I'm not pulling out specific ones that are, trying to make anybody look bad or otherwise. This is just how we were going. So, again, told them it wasn't us, we did complain the first time because I didn't have any way to contact him until the police, told me how I could contact him.
You feel you're representing other neighbors?
And we are. I know that, I think she can say other neighbors have also complained previously.
Okay.
So, again, we're just trying to have dinner.
Understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you for bringing these.
He goes through, mainly says, he can't control his residents. He has no authority to. Everything's going to be good. He's, again, going to rent out for long term. There should be no issues moving forward. So, again, last warning before he hears from an attorney, because now I'm just trying to work with him. So contacting him, he's now threatening me with the attorney just because of asking him about the loud and other things. Anyways, constantly saying, so then the latest, right, because again, he's in violation again. We went over there, actually talked to the residents because they were loud, yelling, cussing. Weird, because a bunch of older ladies from Iowa, they're like, hey, we're only here for a week. We just came down to get out of from Iowa, so obviously he's back to the short-term rental again. So we did contact Code again because, we contacted him. He just threatens us. We have no rights or otherwise.
Okay.
So.
Well, we're going to hear from Mr. Jane, and then we're going to make a motion.
Yeah. Well, just to add on to it, this has been so bad that we thought about moving. So, my wife and kids are autistic. This type of distraction is very tough, and we need it to stop. And truthfully, I don't understand how somebody could continue to do violations of the code years, really for the last year, and still be able to even hold a rental place. I don't understand how he could not just fine, but he should not even be allowed to rent within a residential neighborhood. He obviously has no interest in complying with the code because he continually do it. He has no interest if there's any complaints of doing anything about it, and he continues to repeat it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate.
If you have any questions.
I just want to thank you for coming because I've had to deal with this situation. And I was the spokesperson for all my neighbors, and a neighbor was battling cancer and still had to deal with a short-term rental issue. So I do appreciate you being here. We do care about what you're saying, and hopefully we can get this resolved.
All right. Thank you.
And Mr. Jane, do you want to approach the podium? Okay.
I'm really sorry. I was not aware about his situation. So that's all I can say. Whenever it came to my notice, I stopped doing right away. I reacted immediately. I sent him a message. Whenever he complains, I try to satisfy him. There is a 60 days gap from your first hearing. You give 60 days to correct it. So we had about 3 or 4 short-term already there. So what the issues he is talking about is the first 3, 4 between July and December.
The issue is you're not allowed to have a short-term rental.
And you know this because it's a repeat.
Right, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing less than 30 days. You just saw I fixed it.
Mr. Jane, though, you're still holding your property out for less than 31 days of rentals, though. So
No?
That's not what Ms. Phillips said.
That's why we're back here, is because of the February
The
advertisement.
photos that she shared.
Right, but I immediately fixed it because it is not me. We changed the management company, and that management company either missed out the notice or it's only a 1-week period. What he says, February 1st to February 7th. By February 9th, as soon as Julie brought it to me, I fixed it immediately because it was brought to me. So it's only that 3 days period.
She did show that last photo that said monthly by monthly.
It's only the 3 days period when the website was live. Whatever the issues he mentioned, it is old issues. There is nothing new.
No, the rental was last week.
We can't have you speaking, you have to come up here.
Mr. Jane, what are your plans when the current tenants move out?
Mike, I'm not going to do it less than 31 days. If this is the law, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I'm going to follow it. I don't have reason to do it
But
because.
you were aware of this with the first violation when this first came in, so
That
why
is-
do you keep changing it back?
I didn't, I changed the company.
Your
and it's only
management
the 3
company would
days.
be responsible.
So did you not vet the property management company well enough so that they were well versed on the city codes?
We are talking about 3 days. The moment I signed up with the new company, they posted.
Listen, I understand it's 3 days, but you've had this violation before, so it should be on your radar.
No.
This is a repeat violation. You understand what a repeat violation is?
Ma'am.
Yeah, so when you're responsible for the property, so when you vet a property
I
management
did.
company, it should be a
we get it.
priority to you
But
to
there's a
let them know
transition.
to not allow short-term rentals, and here we are again.
We did it. As soon as I came to know that we did verbally told them somebody missed out, whoever was managing their website or whoever was doing that thing at their part, they felt sorry about it. Within 3 days, I did not hire anybody. I did not have any rental because we are already booked for next 6 months. I can show you my phone. I can show you my next 6 tenants already. It is booked for until July, month to month. We are not doing any short term anymore.
Concerned after that 6-month period that we're going to see another repeat violation because it's a repeat behavior that we're seeing.
Well, I'm sorry, that's all I can say. I said I hired a new company. There was a communication gap for 3 days. I'm happy to pay. But it's purely a communication gap. As soon as I came to know, as soon as my neighbor came with the complaint, he has a long list of complaints. I'm not even mentioning that. Last 4 of my tenants were month to month. He went and talked to them, interviewed them personally for no reason. He had no reason to go. There was no violence. There was no other neighbor is complaining except him. And I feel for him. He might have a problem.
He feels that they're being disruptive and loud.
I'm sure there are.
I understand that, but nobody else was feeling it is disruptive. It's a very quiet, calm.
There are other neighbors that are referring just to go directly to him because they don't feel comfortable speaking up. I've lived through this experience.
I understand. That's the reason I immediately, as soon as it brought to my notice, this is the first time I'm doing this. I never
think he
did this
wanted
before.
to approach the tenants versus calling the police.
Sorry?
I think he wanted to approach the tenants and ask for resolution prior to calling the police. He didn't want to call authorities if he could.
The police incident he
mitigate
is
on his
mentioning
own.
is the very first 2 ones when we were not aware, when they were actually the short term, like the first month. These are not the recent incidents he's mentioning. The recent incident, what I'm saying is for last 4 neighbors, 4 tenants, he went, interviewed them, they all were scared. I'm not even talking about those things. He went to each of my tenants to interview them, deliberately. He was constantly on my website checking for last 6 months. He could not find anything until I changed the management company. So it was my management company.
When you purchased the property, it was your responsibility to be fully aware of ordinances for the city in which you're planning.
And that's what we did. That's what we continued to be in compliance for 9 months until I changed the management company. That's what I'm saying. It's not on me. If I would have to do it, I would have done it right away. It was an honest mistake. I communicated to them verbally that, hey, this is a short-term rental, not less than 30 days. But whoever was doing the website or their changes at their site probably did not realize it.
Right, but you're the property owner and you hired that company, so the responsibility.
Sir, this is within 3 days.
We appreciate you being here.
Responsibility ultimately relies with you.
Absolutely.
So at this point, your website, you can no longer book it for less than 31 days, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
But at the time Ms. Phillips gave you notice of this hearing, you could, correct, Ms. Phillips?
I'd have to go back to the dates. As soon as I serve,
No, we put 29 days.
Well, she's going to speak.
I'm sorry.
She's-
Once I served Kunal, and as a reminder, Kunal and I have been through this previously. It is the owner's responsibility. If you hire a management company, you let them know what you can do and what the guidelines are. That's the responsibility of a property owner. I did serve him, and as soon as he was served, you saw the website change to the 28 days. But of course, it wasn't going to be changed until he was caught, and he was caught.
And so under our code, when we have a repeat violation, once you're served, even if you've corrected now, the fact that she served you with a violation, this case could still go forward to this board. So even if you have corrected it, you're still in violation.
I corrected within 3 days, that's what I'm saying.
That's fine, but it doesn't matter because the point is she already served you and found you in violation. So we appreciate that you've corrected it now, but you still have to be here and answer for this.
so.
Well, we have a recommendation.
Now am I complying or I'm still not complying?
We have a recommendation from Ms. Phillips. Does the board want to move forward?
Have we done the first yet?
No, you need to do the first
I
one.
move to find that respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case and has committed a repeat violation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I don't think I need to hear anything else. Thank you for explaining it to us, and we're gonna make a motion.
But I still need to know, am I compliant or I'm not compliant? Because you said 29 days is not compliant?
No,
Ms.
no.
Phillips is going to come back up.
So just to confirm, the website as of today is in compliance because it's February. The code says 31 days or 1 calendar month, of course, so February has 28 days. So after this month, he will need to change the website back to 30 days. And I'll be happy to give you my recommendation for case 1822. There's one violation for a repeat short-term rental, and I'm requesting a fine of $500 per day for the following dates. The photographs that were taken on January 28th of 2022, January 31st of 2022, and February 1st of 2022, totaling $1,500.
And his question was, will he then be in compliance? Are you saying that after?
If he doesn't change his website again, I mean, you'll find with most cases that I've brought, there's probably been at least 130 short-term rentals. Once you come before the board and you're given a slap on the hand, you're given a slap on the hand. So you're fined when you're caught.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Come up to the podium.
So I was told by my attorney I can do 29 days because we keep 2 days for maintenance. So the next tenant doesn't come until 31 days.
The
Your
law is the
Your
advertising.
advertisement has to meet the code.
Okay.
Not meeting the code advertisement if you have it for less than the code number of days or a month. That's how it's the language, that's why.
Right, no, we clearly says monthly on it. That is on the top, it says monthly. But what she is mentioning is when somebody goes and search,
You're right.
29 to
You're
30
right,
or
you're
that's
right.
a
You will not be
violation.
able to put that.
so it has to be 30,
Correct.
basically, minimum 30.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I want.
Okay.
I move to enter an order the fine of $1,500. Actually, it's a total. $500 per day for the imposed for the 3 days the repeat violation existed for a total fine of $1,500, payable with 30 days?
30 days.
Within 30 days. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Okay. And unfinished business. Okay, so are we accepting all of the affidavits in one motion?
You could do all the affidavits of
compliance.
compliance together in one motion.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept the affidavits of
I
compliance?
move to accept the affidavits as compliance as listed.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, is there anyone here to speak to the affidavits of non-compliance? Anybody? So can I have a motion to accept the affidavits of non-compliance?
We
Should
do
I
have-
read them?
We do have someone do that.
Oh, there is somebody? I'm sorry, please come up.
Can I go?
Oh,
Yes.
yes, absolutely, thank you, Mr. G. Your name and address, sir?
My name is Sean Drake, and it is 10497 St. Paul Drive, and that's in Port Charlotte.
And you're speaking to case 14921, non-compliance for Tioga Avenue?
Yes, by way of background, with my sister-in-law's passing, I have assumed power of attorney for my brother Thomas. It's worth noting that that property.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were Thomas.
No,
Okay.
no. I mentioned my name, Sean.
Sean,
Drake,
I
yes.
apologize, okay.
So as I was saying, 1360 Tioga Avenue is a rental property, and when I was made aware that there was a violation, I wrote a letter to the city acknowledging same and asked them for time to resolve this. I then contacted the property management company and have correspondence from them assuring me that this problem had been resolved. Obviously, it hasn't, otherwise I wouldn't be here today. And to that end, I was going to ask for more time, and I was going to see if I could apply for a permit if possible. The only reason is no one seems to know who put this fence up. I didn't put it up. I never saw a bill for it. I've since had to change property management companies for a variety of reasons, not just this. I drove by the property in that I'm going to be putting a new roof on it. My agreement with the management company is that I not have contact with the tenants. The only reason I mention this is these people keep their yard up really nice. I mean, if we can keep their fence, I'd like to.
Yeah, I don't
If
think
not-
we're familiar with this property off the top of our heads, and I don't know if there's anyone from any of the inspectors are here.
I think Mr. Woods, I have a picture of the property, if I could bring that to you, if you like.
Could we see
You
it while
can,
you're here?
Put it right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the property, 1360. That's a fence.
Wait 1 second. so
Just
it
give
comes
her
out.
1 second to switch over.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, this was the one with the duplex.
So, again, I don't know any of these people. Like I said, I'm not to have contact with them. Regrettably, the people at 1360 had to be evicted, and when I went by, like I said, it's a nice place. I want them to, if we can, keep the fence. If not, I understand, but the point I'm trying to make is I have no idea how that fence got there. No one's been able to definitively tell me how.
And remind me, do you own both sides, or
His brother.
Both sides, yes.
brother owns both sides?
Yes.
Okay, does the board have any questions for Mr. Drake? And then I would just like to hear from Mr. Swinton really quick.
I haven't been properly sworn in yet, so.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is the property that we bought before you. In respect to the fence, it has been up for quite a while. Notices have been sent on numerous occasions. Those notices, some come back and some were received. The property had been posted at that time once those came back. There was some communications when I found out that the ownership had kind of changed a little bit, and I was able to notify you, Sean, because at one time I thought this was Thomas and Sean was the same person, but found out that it was actually
We've all
two
made that
different
mistake
people.
today.
So that fence is still there. He will need to get a permit for it. Probably he's not going to be able to keep it at the height that it is, but he can definitely talk with the building officials and we can work
So
something
this
out.
affidavit is not going to prevent him from either changing or removing that fence?
Right.
Great, I'm good with that. Like I said, they keep their place up. I mean, if they want to keep a fence, I'm
Well,
happy
we
with it.
appreciate you taking responsibility for the property and coming forward and working with us to move this forward, to get this into compliance.
You'll still need a permit on the fence, though.
Yes, yes, a gentleman provided me with the contact information, so I'm going to start on that right away. Is there a timeline? Only reason I mention is March is my month to take care of the parents, so I'll be flying out next Wednesday. But I'll get going on the permit right away. What am I looking at here to resolve all this?
I don't know the codes off the top of my head for this particular fence.
I'll just keep in touch. Well,
are you gonna-
Hold on. Currently, there's a fine running.
Right.
So you would have to extend the initial date from November 27th, 2021 to not allow a fine to occur in this case.
Were you aware of the fines occurring?
I was not. No. As I said, my sister-in-law and brother had purchased these properties, and with her passing, a lot of stuff got ignored, and a lot of delays. We only recently got her home to Scotland in
But
October.
Thomas owns the property?
Yes. And again, not to make a big sob story of it, but with her passing, his mental, physical, and financial state has deteriorated. So I have recently taken a financial interest in these properties, and to that end, recently filed. So I'll be listed on the deeds, that sort of thing.
So I'm not sure we can,
You can extend the time period for the affidavit of compliance or non-compliance in effect, so that we wouldn't be presenting it to you. The city wouldn't be presenting something to you if he comes in compliance other than an affidavit of compliance. So in essence, you're extending the time period for him to come in.
even if Thomas is not actually here, this is based on the brother's recommendation?
He's extended the reasons why. Unless we have some reason to question it, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Sir, do you have a power of attorney?
I do have power of attorney. It's referenced here, but I did not bring a copy of it. So I can provide that for you if you like.
I'm okay.
Okay, I needed that when I had to fire the previous management company, so.
So if I make a motion to extend the affidavit of compliance to March 23rd,
You can do that, and that would extend this, and we would wait until the March or April meeting.
okay.
Very good. So if I understand you correctly, I'll apply for a permit.
This has to be priority number one.
Yes.
Okay.
Start on it today.
Okay.
My motion stands.
Well, hang on. I think we need to lump the other two together and vote on them, and then we can vote on this one.
No, I would vote on this one separately, because you're
Yeah.
extending the time period. The other two, you're going to be voting on accepting the affidavits of non-compliance.
So does someone want to make a motion on this one, or do we want to go back up to the ones in order?
No, let's make a motion.
While we're here? Okay, go ahead. If no one else has any other questions.
Okay, the motion was to extend the affidavit of compliance to March 23.
Extend the date of compliance for March.
I'll second that.
No, can I get a reading on it, please? Isn't there
There's not a reading on it, you just made it.
there's not one for
Do we need a reading on this?
affidavits of non-compliance?
No, we're just extending the.
Okay,
I'm sorry, we were talking, so you all did the vote?
we
You
don't
just-
know.
He seconded it. You need to say all.
Okay.
All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then, if there's no one here on the other two, then you could do those.
You're good until.
Okay, so
23rd,
apply for a permit and.
Right away.
You need to be in
Yeah, and
compliance
work
by
with
March
Mr. Swinton.
23rd.
Very good. I'm sorry, what was that?
Work with Mr. Swinton.
Yes, I will.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak on the other two affidavits of non-compliance? Dennis
Thanks for
Hill,
your time.
Michael Chiavatti.
My condolences.
Item 5.3 is being continued to the March meeting, actually.
So we're just doing 5.2?
Hold on.
We're just doing 5.2.
Is this guy just gonna speak?
Just 5.2.
Yes.
It's not on the back now.
Okay, can I have a motion of accepting the affidavits of non-compliance
Yeah,
for
I
case
moved.
156-21?
I move to accept the affidavit of noncompliance and issue an order that imposes fines and states if the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose pledges of such lien.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you for muddling through that with me. Okay, other boards action. Where did she go? Oh, there you are. Case 108-21, request to stop lien accrual for Dennis Hill at 204 Pennsylvania Avenue. And that's the only one. Is the applicant here?
Good afternoon, Board. Rebecca Mulder, Code Enforcement Supervisor. Sorry, Greg is not here. This is a request to stop the lien accrual for the ABBs on the property at 204 Pennsylvania Avenue.
I'm really confused. What?
I'm sorry, she jumped ahead. That's 7.1.
Do you have
that you're
a
seeing.
slide for this? You don't have anything for this one.
No, it's
Okay.
just a request. There's liens currently accruing for abandoned vehicle on the property, and we are requesting to stop those liens.
My recommendation would not be to stop those liens. We've been staring at this for a long time.
Has it reached the value of the property?
Our intention with this is to go about it on other means and potentially abate the property instead.
Okay.
Because the lien accrual is not having the impact. Financial doesn't seem to be an issue for this particular property owner, so we're looking for other alternatives. And we need to stop this process in order to begin the potential abatement that we would bring before you at a later date.
You spoke with the homeowner?
Yes, he is aware that we are taking this avenue for a few of the violations.
Can we make a motion? Is there a stop lien motion?
How do we word that one?
Do we just make a motion on that?
Yes.
To stop, yes or no?
Yes. I mean, we've done these in the past when it's reached the value of the property, or in this case, they're pursuing another avenue of going after this, which, the whole idea obviously is to get compliance and get those vehicles out of there.
I move to motion, we stop the lien accrual.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
So we take that. Miss Brown. Case 14-22 is accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents Vicky Haas at 3035 Oak Cove Drive for lot clearing. This is under nuisance abatement lien filing.
Good afternoon, Board. Shelby Brown, Code Inspector, City of Clearwater. Normally, when you hear a nuisance abatement case, you typically vote that there's a violation and give us approval to abate the property. This is a much more significant nuisance type case. Therefore, I would like to make a presentation so that you can see the scale of the nuisance and what the abatement would entail. There are also a few neighbors that have joined us today that would like an opportunity to speak to the board for a few moments at some point during the presentation. Would that be okay? I'd like to do that prior to deliberation after my last slide, if that would be okay.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
I'll begin. All right, so this is 3035 Oak Cove Drive. This is a nuisance abatement case. It's case 14-22, and I'm Shelby Brown, Code Compliance Inspector. All right, this is 3035 Oak Cove Drive. This picture was taken on December 29th, 2021. This is a single-family residential property. It is absolutely fortress-like, as you can see, with the accumulation of undergrowth, overgrowth, etc., and it is in an unmanageable adverse condition. So that's a first picture. I want you to see what we're working with. Don't get scared. There's going to be a lot of information here. It won't all have to get read, but I'm going to read this. There's one violation that we have at the property. It's a property maintenance violation, it's public nuisance, and it's lot clearing. So the city's code allows on 3-1501 property maintenance standards, and the purpose of that is that the division is to protect the comfort, health, repose, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of the city by establishing minimum property and building maintenance standards for all properties, and to provide for the abatement of nuisances affecting the general public. So in summary, the long-term lack of proper maintenance of the landscaping and vegetation is hereby declared to constitute a public nuisance condition, the abatement of which would be in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city. This property continues to be kept in an adverse condition as in violation of multiple property maintenance and public nuisance ordinances, which are listed as follows. So again, there's one violation at the property that we want to have abated, which is lot clearing. I'm going to show you all of the subsections that we put in our notices of violation to the property owner. I'll read the headings, and when we get to the real meat of things, I'll read those all the way. 3-1501, that's the property maintenance standard. That's the purpose. 3-1502 are property maintenance requirements, and then many other subsections that are in violation currently. 1502G1 is for exterior storage, that's not allowed. 3-1502G2, exterior storage, not for use outdoors. You can't keep a bunch of equipment, material, discarded items, etc. 3-1502H3 is for landscape maintenance. You have to take care of your landscape. 3-1502H4 is for landscape maintenance in the right-of-way. That's the area that's typically owned by a jurisdiction but maintained by a property owner. 3-1502H5, no yard shall be used for dumping, and that is occurring here. 3-1502K1, this is for sidewalks and public rights-of-way. It says that basically you're going to maintain your right-of-way the same as you'd maintain your own property, and that you can't have things extending into the sidewalk, extending into the right-of-way. These things need to be kept clear. You have to keep a height clearance so people can drive by on the street, things like that. I'm going to read 3-1502K4 specifically. This is parking lot and driveway surface maintenance. A parking lot and driveway surface shall be maintained in a safe and clean condition by the owner of the parcel of land. The owner shall, at a minimum, keep such surface free of potholes, litter, trash, debris, equipment, weeds, dead vegetation, and refuse. Shall be promptly repair cracked and heaved parking lot surfaces. 3-1503A is a nuisance code, saying that no person that owns a property shall keep a nuisance at that property. 3-1503B is a nuisance condition. 3-1503B1 is that there's a public nuisance condition at the property that can cause a diminution of value of other neighboring properties. 3-1503B5A, accumulation and placement of nuisances. I'm going to read this. Any accumulation of weeds, debris, trash, garden trash, junk, untended growth of vegetation, undergrowth of dead or living vegetation, or hazardous swimming pools or hazardous trees upon any private property or on any public property without authorization to the extent and manner that such property contains or is likely to contain rodents, reptiles, or other vermin, or furnishes a breeding place for flies, mosquitoes, wood-destroying insects, or otherwise threatens the public health, safety, and welfare. Hang in there with me. We're almost there. So these are our other nuisance abatement codes. This is what you're normally going to see. Again, 3-1503B5B is nuisance placement on a right-of-way. You can't keep a nuisance on the right-of-way. 3-1503B7, a lot clearing violation. Excessive growth or accumulation of weeds, grass, undergrowth, or other similar plant materials reaching a height of more than 12 inches, or the accumulation of debris upon property within the city of Clearwater. 3-1503B8 is for an unmaintained right-of-way. 3-1503B9, any other nuisance condition that constitutes a nuisance to the public generally, which is continually or repeatedly maintained, the abatement of which would be in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city. And lastly, 3-1503B10, maintenance of abutting right-of-ways, says you have to take care of your right-of-way. All right? All of those things are provided to the property owner, but the main issue is that we have a lot clearing issue that's a nuisance. The notice of violation was posted to the property on November 10th of 2021, and we also sent the notice of violation on November 10th, 2021. So we posted the notices on the same day that we mailed them out. The compliance date was requested as December 20th, 2021, and we did receive the certified mail green card back on November 30th, 2021, so we know the owner is aware. Here's a picture of the property that we took on November 10th, 2021. What you're looking at is an absolutely unmaintained, egregious condition at this property. There is a house behind there. There is supposed to be a driveway there. The car barely fits in it. The entire property is unmanageable and unmaintained with overgrowth, undergrowth. This is, again, supposed to be a driveway that you're looking at. It's posted no trespassing. You can see my posting there on the stick, and then lots of other debris and undergrowth. This is just the front of the property from the street. I took this picture through a little hole in the bushes on the right-of-way, so we can see through that the house is there. This is the only actual turf, I'd say, that's on the property, but it's a jungle. And there's kiddie pools full of water there, all kinds of standing water and other containers. Everything is just growing wild. Here's a picture of the driveway. There is a car in the driveway, almost all the way to the sidewalk. Car's another issue. Maybe we'll come back before you and ask to have that abated too. Not today. What you're looking at here is a driveway, and there's almost a little path through the vegetation that's overtaken the driveway, along with a lot of other trash, debris, outdoor storage. There's the path. That might be how the owner gets to the door. I'm not sure. I'm not walking in there. You can see all of the discarded materials there. It's just in poor, poor shape. This is a picture of our posting that day. I was joined by some other inspectors out there so that we could make sure these items were there, that she got the letters. That's the right-of-way. Nothing is really supposed to be on the right-of-way typically, but we've got a lot of growth there, and you can have trees, but there was a lot of other things there that day. Discarded, cut-up pieces of wood. There was food, potatoes, things left out for animals. That's what it looks like from the street. So let's flash forward to December 29th. No change, probably worse potentially. It's not even grow season, and you can see that the house is absolutely encumbered with the growth at the property. Another picture showing a kind of low part of the little access way that's there. So there's just piles of potted plants. These are potted plants and vegetation that's just growing in from the sides. Again, that's supposed to be a driveway. Discarded water jugs, all kinds of other materials in there, plastic storage bins, plastic bags. Let's see, February 1st. So the other vehicle has been moved onto the portion of the driveway that's open, except for it's blocking the entire sidewalk now because it can't pull into the driveway. Looks like maybe those pieces of wood that aren't supposed to be there were rearranged a little more artistically, but we've still got this fortress-like condition at the property. Here's a picture of what it would be like for you to try to walk on the sidewalk here. It's just absolutely encumbered there, and of course the vehicle is blocking the sidewalk because it can't fit in the driveway. All right, so now you're looking at a view of the property facing west. I'm taking this picture from a neighbor's property, and this neighbor is kind enough to be here today. Been living next door to this for years. That's the scale of what's happening just in the front yard. So as you can see, the property next door, nothing like that. You can see the canopy and the shade on the street. This is the neighbor's property. That's what a driveway looks like. That's what most of the driveways look like in that neighborhood. Clear, you can use it. That's the other neighbor on the other side. Clear, you can see the shadows and the shade coming over onto that neighbor's property. Right across the street, clear. This is what a neighborhood is supposed to look like. So we're just trying to establish that something here is not like the others. This is the canopy. This is the shade that's like a canyon there. So this all needs to get thinned out, cut back, hasn't been taken care of in years. My arrow is kind of pointing, I'm looking up the street facing east. The arrow is where her house is. You can kind of see what the rest of the street looks like. It's very clear. And I got a little crazy with my arrows here, bear with, but the arrow on the left side at the bottom, that's her vehicle that was in the driveway sort of at some point. So you can kind of see the scale of what's growing out over into the street. And she's trying to keep enough clearance legally. It's supposed to be 8 feet, but this needs to be cut back and thinned out completely. And then the other arrows kind of show you just the scale of how far back the growth goes. All right, folks, this was yesterday. Same. That's looking at her place from the street. Still no driveway. Still a mess. There's a little bit more of a picture. There's a house under there. A neighbor that lives behind her who's we've been in contact with many times over the years. This is from his yard directly behind. He has said that he's spent thousands of dollars over the years trying to trim back everything. He's looking at her backyard, so you can see the scale of what's happening in the backyard as well. It's the same on the side yards. Everything is kind of pushed up against his fence. If you look a little to the right, you'll start to see some other kind of items poking above the fence there. One is a shed. There's some other outdoor storage. I don't know if it's an old trampoline or a mattress and some doors. I've got a closer-up picture, but the neighbors are just having to cut this back all the time, and it's just terrible in the back. That's what the neighbor has to look at all the time. The whole backyard needs to get cleared out. The side yards need to get cleared out. People's fences aren't in good shape. Everything's kind of pushing down. Before we deliberate, I do have a few people here who would like a chance to talk. When will we be able to do that?
We can do that right now.
Yeah.
Would you be so kind? Very good. I'm going to ask Mr. Roland Wilson to come up first, please. Everybody's been sworn in, and he's the neighbor who lives just to the east, and he'd like an opportunity to address the board. Please first.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Your name and address?
Excuse me?
Your name and address?
My name is Roland Wilson. I live at 3041 Oak Cove Drive, Clearwater. I'm the home that is immediately to the left of this property. Might be a little long here. If I am, I apologize. First of all, I'm 77 years old, and I'll tell you why that. You need to know that here in a moment. My family moved to Dunedin, Florida when I was 3 years old, and that's where I've lived ever since. Second graduating class at Dunedin High, and the only time I was not in the area was my 4 years when I was in the military. Now, I bought 4 homes down through the years, raising a family. I was a mortgage broker for 35. I've inspected hundreds of homes all over the county. I've never, ever, ever seen a property in this condition, period. Even in the less affluent areas, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. And in the beginning, she moved there about the same time I did with her husband. And they kept the property up until they became divorced. And ever since then, it's gotten worse and worse. Even in the last month or so, it's worse. So, from time to time, we've seen snakes, rats, had to roust out an armadillo. Seriously, actually an armadillo. And there's a little Asian lady who lives on the one side that had a snake that got into her garage and into her bedroom. And the lady damn near had a heart attack. Now, through the years, I don't know if you saw, I'll see the picture down my side. I've been able to keep those bushes trimmed back. They're all over my fence, right? And I'm 77. That's why I mentioned I can't do it anymore. And yet today, they need to be trimmed desperately as I speak here today. On top of that, that tree that you see had grown the limbs on my roof. They were on my roof. She would not cut it off my roof. I had to pay $500 to have a roofer, tree surgeon come out and trim those. It's a lot of money for a senior citizen. And to top it off, while they were there working in the tree, she had the nerve to call the police and demand that they get out of her tree. Now, I'm pro-police. You'll see it a sign in my yard. I'm pro-police. But they did a terrible job of that because they wouldn't let my guys finish the job. They told them they had to leave. And to me, that just enamored her. Look, I can get away with this from the city. Even the police can't stop me. So to me, that just re-enabled her to do whatever she wants to do. So today, nobody's asking her to go to jail. We just want the property cleaned up. Down through the years, any number of women have go to talk to her and say, Vicky, would you please clean this up? I'm not cleaning it up. It's my home. It's my house. It's my property. And I'll do what I want with it. We've even offered to pay to have the place cleaned up. Nope, it's how I want to live. Now, she could go to Pasco County or Hernando County, have many crap like this all over the place, but not in Pinellas County. In a subdivision of $350,000, $400,000 homes, there's not one other house in that area that isn't kept up to par. So today, I'm asking for you to have God's wisdom, and after you've heard my testimony, seen the emails I think you have gotten, seen the pictures, and she has more pictures, and spoken to Ms. Brown, that you find it in your hearts to do the right thing. Y'all have messed with this property for years and years. You had a $30,000 lien on it at one time. She went into foreclosure because she had a roof that she didn't pay for. It went into foreclosure, and they reduced that $30,000 lien down to $500. Keep her from losing the house. That's how bad it is. She's not going to change. So I expect y'all to respect the other 55 people that lived in that subdivision, our rights, and not the rights of one person who has no respect for anybody else in that subdivision. And a lot of us are senior citizens. Sometimes we have nothing else to do except go out and mow the lawn. So everything in there is well kept. So, like I said, I ask you today to do what you ever have to do to clean that property up. Whether y'all do it, have somebody else do it, it's got to be cleaned up. And if you're ever out in that area, you have the address, just ride by that property and see what I'm talking about. You'd be shocked. There's not one of y'all, I know this, if that property was beside you, it'd be cleaned up. So ride by there sometime and take a look at it and see what it looks like. All right?
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll get this taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your time.
One more neighbor. Hi, my name is Stephanie Phillips. Thankfully, I don't live next door to Vicky. I live diagonally across the street. I have seen snakes over there, and I know that there was a neighbor behind, Stephanie Phillips, 3022 Oak Cove Drive, Clearwater. There is a neighbor. Mr. Wilson is facing the house. Mr. Wilson is on the right, and Purine is on the left. She's a fabulous woman, and she has the most beautiful gardens, flowers, and she gives cuttings from the flowers to all the neighbors so that their gardens can look great. She's putting up with snakes in her yard. She's putting up with bees and bugs and any kind of creature that you think that you can have in this place. It's horrible. And the neighbor behind him, behind his house, he had rat devastation in his foundation that was so bad, it cost him $6,000 to repair the foundation damage from the rats from her house. Now, my house was actually on one of those slides. It was just the driveway. My convertible was in it. And thankfully, I don't have 1,000 snakes in my backyard, but my neighbors and caring friends do. And Mr. Wilson was correct. Our neighborhood, our development, every house is unique and wonderful except for that one. And if the city can't do something about that, that's just sad. It's sad. So that's my little piece.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. We're going to try to do something about it. Ms. Brown,
Ready to make a motion?
Allow the board to deliberate now, if you'd like.
does anyone have any questions?
No.
I don't.
A lot to
Do
say.
we have to take
Clear,
off?
something has to be done.
I don't think there's a whole lot to say. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, she's not here, I guess, and she's not.
She's not here today. We have had this property owner before the board 3 previous times, though I will say,
For the same.
just for the record, for different items, but we came before for outdoor storage and property maintenance. There was a repeat violation for outdoor storage, a hauling trailer, and now this, but many cases over the years. I have other letters and emails from the owners, as they mentioned. I can, sit on those if you'd like, but we did get a lot of information from neighbors that wanted to be heard.
We know what to do.
Yeah, we all want to see this.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for the time, too, to present that.
Do we have an idea of what the house condition of the house is? I know you didn't get very close.
No, Mr. Kohat, it's very hard to see because it's obscured completely by vegetation, and we've never been granted access.
Well,
get to that later.
we might be peeling the onion.
It's going to be interesting, yes.
I'll go ahead and I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of the code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order.
Sorry. Ms. Brown.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Because of the scale of things, I thought Ms. Haas was going to be here. I was making a recommendation for compliance by March 10th to give her an opportunity to get going on this, so I do apologize.
Okay. I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations by March 10th, 2022 of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with the reasonable costs, which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We appreciate it.
Did you, I would like to say how compliance can be met for the property, if I may. I would finish it out. So compliance can be met for property maintenance, public nuisance conditions, and lot clearing by clearing the entire property of all accumulated overgrowth, undergrowth, dead vegetation, debris, discarded materials, outdoor storage, etc. The clearing should include all pruning of overgrown trees, overgrown potted vegetation, empty planting pots, water jugs, interior furnishings, discarded vinyl fence sections that exist in the side yards, etc. For clarification, the entire property includes the whole driveway, front, rear, and side yards, and the right-of-way in front of the home. If the owner was here or she's watching, I want her to see this so she has a fair opportunity to understand what it is that's being requested and what's going to happen. And then there's just a final photo taken yesterday, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you a
Yes.
question about the driveway? Does the driveway stop where that vehicle is parked? I mean, is there pavement all the way to the house, or perhaps there might be a
The
garage?
pavement goes all the way to a garage. You just can't see any of that. There's one vehicle that's there that's underneath lots of other vegetation. Okay, it needs to be cleared.
I'm concerned she's gonna be back the minute when she gets it cleared, that you're gonna find the house is in complete disarray on the outside and be back here for the house
That's a possibility.
and the structures.
Yeah, yes, it's a possibility, but we really want to give, if she's listening, I want her to have the opportunity to try to take some action beforehand, because it's a great undertaking for the city to have to do it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Board, any other comments?
We have one thing.
Board, and I know that we did set a compliance date for March, but we have no March meeting. Things happened and there's no cases to be heard. There's cases, but there's no March meeting.
Okay.
So the one case that,
It'll automatically move to your
To
next
the April.
meeting.
Okay.
to the April.
And will fines still incur from the,
Yeah,
from the March deadline?
Her deadline is still 10th for the
That
city.
one,
because you extended the.
no, that's,
So
yes.
it would automatically go to
It
April.
would automatically go to April. So there will not be an incurred fine because of the non-meeting.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I already made a motion.
You made a motion to close. Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.